Sounds like it's straight out of Star Trek quantum teleportation.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that because for a lot of people, it does seem like science fiction.
Right. But the reality is, this is happening in labs right now.
It is. It's real deal science.
Hmm.
And it all comes down to something even weirder, entanglement.
Okay, so before we actually teleport anything, I think we need to take a step back and define what we're talking about.
Yes.
When we say quantum teleportation, we're not beaming people or objects from one place to another like in the movies.
Not quite. No.
So what are we teleporting then?
Well, think of it this way. Imagine sending a recipe for a cake instead of sending the actual cake itself.
Okay.
The person on the other end, they get all the information they need to recreate that cake down to the last sprinkle, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like quantum teleportation. We're teleporting the information, the quantum state of a particle.
Oh, okay. So we're not dealing with matter, we're dealing with information.
Exactly. It's a bit more abstract than a cake,
Right.
but it's a good analogy.
So if we're sending a quantum recipe, what are the ingredients? What do we need for this to work?
Well, we need three main things. First up, we've got our entangled particles.
Okay, entanglement. That always sounds so mysterious.
It is. These are like two particles that are linked, but in a way that even Einstein called, spooky action at a distance. It's like they're connected no matter how far apart they are.
So you measure one and it instantly affects the other.
Boom, instant effect. It's mind-blowing, really.
I have to admit that is pretty spooky. All right, so we've got our spooky entangled pair.
Right.
What's next?
Next, we need to prep the quantum state that we actually want to send. This could be, I don't know, the state of a photon, an atom, anything that has those quantum properties.
So like choosing what kind of cake we want to teleport.
Exactly.
You got it.
Okay, so we've chosen our cake. We've got our spooky entangled pair ready to go.
All right.
What's the next step in our recipe? Now, this is where it gets really interesting because, you see, we can't just copy a quantum state.
We can't.
Nope. There's a rule. It's like a fundamental law in quantum mechanics called the no cloning theorem.
So no copy-paste in the quantum world.
Exactly. It's impossible. And the reason is, imagine trying to, I don't know, photocopy a dollar bill that's constantly changing its value.
Oh, okay, I see where you're going with this.
Right. Like, you could try to capture a snapshot, but the original is always shifting.
Ah, so teleportation isn't copying at all. It's more like a transfer.
You got it. It's like a transfer of that state. And, get this, the original state is destroyed in the process.
Whoa, wait a minute.
So there's only ever one copy. It's like the ultimate disappearing act.
Wow. Okay, that is way more complex than I initially thought.
Yeah, it is. It takes a minute to wrap your head around it.
I think we need to go through the actual steps of teleportation, like a play-by-play, to really grasp this.
Okay, sure. Let's break it down.
All right, so how does this transfer actually happen?
All right, so picture this. We've got our trusty quantum friends, Alice and Bob.
Classic Alice and Bob.
They're far apart, but they share an entangled pair of particles. So Alice, she has the quantum state she wants to send to Bob.
All right, so what does Alice do first?
She does something really clever. She performs this special measurement on her particle and its entangled partner. It's called a Bell state measurement, and it basically takes a snapshot of their relationship.
Okay, so it's not revealing what the original state was, but it's connecting her particle to Bob's in a new way.
Exactly. Now, Alice, she needs to send Bob some classical information like a regular text message.
Hold on, so we're doing quantum teleportation, but we still need regular communication.
We do. It's kind of funny, but we need that classical bit to tell Bob how to decode the teleported state.
So Bob gets this message. What does he do with it?
Well, Bob's a smart guy. He uses Alice's info to do a specific operation on his end of the entangled pair. And this operation, boom, it reconstructs the original state.
That's amazing. So Alice's original state is gone, poof, and now Bob's particle has that exact same state.
Exactly. That's quantum teleportation in a nutshell.
It's just remarkable how much is happening behind the scenes entanglement, this classical communication.
Oh, yeah, it's a whole orchestrated dance.
Now, are we just talking theory here, or has this actually been done?
Oh, no, this is not just theory. We've actually teleported states of photons, atoms, even done it between satellites.
Wait, satellites? Seriously?
Yeah, it's happening.
That's incredible. So are we close to teleporting people then? Like Star Trek style?
Not quite yet. The problem is, the bigger and more complex the system, the harder it is to maintain entanglement. It's like trying to send a signal through a really noisy channel.
Right.
Things get garbled over long distances. Scientists call this decoherence, and it's a major challenge.
So no beaming ourselves up just yet.
Not quite yet, no.
Okay. But what about other applications? Like what can we actually DO with this amazing technology?
Now that's where it gets really exciting. Imagine a world of unhackable communication, computers that are like a million times faster than anything we have today.
Yeah.
Teleportation could play a huge role in how our world is built.
That sounds like a deep dive for another time.
Definitely.
But speaking of deep dives, I think we need to take one into the realm of quantum computing first.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've teleported our quantum state. Success. But how does this actually connect to the world of quantum computing?
Well, quantum teleportation, it's actually super important for making practical quantum computers work. I mean, think about it. You got this like massive quantum computer with all these different parts.
Yeah.
You need to move information between those parts without, disturbing those delicate quantum states.
Right.
And teleportation. Well, it's kind of like the perfect solution.
Yeah.
It's the internal communication system that lets data flow freely without losing any of that precious coherence.
So it's kind of like the nervous system of a quantum computer, making sure everything's talking to each other.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. And you know what's really cool? This idea of transferring information without actually moving anything physically, it has another amazing application, the quantum internet.
Okay, now we're talking. The quantum internet. That sounds like sci-fi stuff.
It does, doesn't it? But imagine this, a network of quantum computers all over the world, all linked together by teleportation.
Okay, but what would we even use a quantum internet for?
Think about it. With the quantum internet, we could exchange information in a way that's basically unhackable. Remember the no cloning theorem?
Yeah.
Any attempt to, intercept that information would instantly change it. You'd immediately know someone was snooping around.
So it's inherently secure just by its nature.
Exactly. It's built-in security. That's the beauty of quantum mechanics.
That's incredible. So are there any real-world examples of this? Or are we just, dreaming big here?
Well, we're still in the early stages, but scientists have actually demonstrated quantum teleportation over pretty long distances using fiber optic cables and even satellites.
Satellites. Wow, okay, we're not messing around.
Nope. It's a glimpse into a future where communication is not only, super fast, but also completely secure.
Okay, let's fast forward a bit. Say we've mastered quantum teleportation for, communication and computing.
All right.
Are there any other applications on the horizon? Anything even more out there?
There is one that's particularly mind-blowing. It's called topological quantum computing.
Topological.
Yeah, it uses these particles called endians. They're like these weird particles that have these unique properties that make them much more stable than the qubits in regular quantum computers.
Okay, so more stable, more reliable.
Exactly. And guess what plays a key role in this type of quantum computing?
Let me guess. Teleportation.
You got it. It's all connected.
So teleportation is involved in moving information around in these super advanced quantum computers. I'm starting to see a pattern here.
You should. It's going to be everywhere.
It's mind-blowing to think about the potential, but also, the responsibility that comes with this kind of technology.
Oh, absolutely. It makes you realize that quantum teleportation, it's not just some scientific breakthrough.
Right.
It's like a completely new way of thinking about the world.
It is. And that brings us to our deep dive thought experiment for today.
Ooh, I love these.
If we could teleport anything, and I mean anything, not just information, what would be the most impactful use? Something that could, really change the course of humanity.
Wow, that's a big one.
I know, right? But imagine the possibilities. We could solve world hunger, just instantly teleport food where it's needed,
Yeah.
or deliver medical supplies to disaster zones in the blink of an eye.
Think about the impact on global trade, travel. The possibilities are limitless.
It's amazing to think about all the good we could do, but, we also have to think about the potential downsides.
Oh, absolutely. We have to be responsible with this kind of power.
Right. Would it be accessible to everyone, or would it create even more inequality?
Exactly. And could it be used for, harmful purposes or to exploit resources even faster?
It seems like every time we make a big leap forward in technology, we open up a whole new set of ethical challenges.
It's true. It's a double-edged sword.
And, it brings me back to a question that's been bugging me this whole time.
Okay.
If teleportation destroys the original and creates this perfect copy, is it really travel? Or is it something else entirely?
Yes. The age-old question of identity and continuity.
Mm-hmm.
Are we just transmitting information, leaving the original behind? Or is there something more to it, something that makes us, that somehow travels along with that quantum information?
It's a question that, science alone might not be able to answer. It makes you think about philosophy, consciousness, the very nature of what it means to be human.
It really does.
Yeah.
And that's what makes quantum teleportation so fascinating. It pushes us to think beyond what we know, to grapple with the biggest mysteries of the universe.
Absolutely. And, one area where it's already having a real impact is in cybersecurity.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We talked about how the no cloning theorem makes quantum communication super secure. That has to have huge implications for, protecting our data.
It does. There's this thing called quantum key distribution, or QKD for short.
QTD, okay.
And it uses entangled particles to create these, like, unbreakable encryption keys. It's like having a secret code that only the sender and receiver know, and any attempt to break it would be instantly detected.
So that's like the ultimate solution to hacking and data breaches.
It could be. It could be. It's still early days, but QKD is already being tested and used in some places.
Wow. So we're still figuring things out, but it's incredible to see how quantum teleportation is already being used to make our digital world safer.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And you know what? This is just the beginning.
I have a feeling you're right.
As we delve deeper into this quantum realm, I think we're going to find even more mind-blowing applications for this technology, things we can't even imagine yet.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Like, the possibilities are incredible, but it also comes with a huge responsibility,
Oh, absolutely. And we're not just talking about, like, a new gadget or a faster internet connection.
Right. This is like a whole new way of looking at the world.
It is. And that actually brings us to our deep dive thought experiment for today.
Oh, I like where this is going.
All right, so imagine this. If we could teleport anything, not just information, but like physical objects, what would be the most impactful use? What could really change the course of humanity?
Wow. That's a big one.
It is a big one.
Well, I mean, the possibilities are kind of endless, right? We
Yeah.
could solve world hunger, just teleport food to where it's needed instantly,
Right, no more famine.
deliver medical supplies to disaster zones like in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. Or think about global trade and travel, No more planes, no more ships, everything just teleported.
It's crazy to think about, but we'd have to be careful, right? Like, what about the ethical implications?
Oh, for sure. I mean, who would have access to this technology?
Mhm.
Would it be fair? Could it be used for, like, bad stuff?
Yeah, it's like every time we make a big leap forward, we got to figure out how to use it responsibly.
Exactly. It's a balancing act.
And you know what? This whole conversation brings me back to something that's been bugging me.
Okay, what's that?
If teleportation destroys the original and creates this perfect copy on the other end, is it really travel? Or is it something else entirely?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? The question of identity. It's like, are we just sending information? Or is there something more, something that makes us, that somehow goes along for the ride?
Right, because the original's gone. Right, so is it still you on the other side? I don't know. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't know if science can answer that.
You're right. It's a question that goes way beyond science. It gets into philosophy, consciousness,
Yeah,
the very nature of what it means to be human.
it's a lot to think about.
It is. And that's what I love about quantum teleportation. It forces us to confront not only like the limits of our technology,
Right.
but also the limits of our understanding of ourselves and like the universe we live on.
It's pretty humbling, honestly.
It is. Well, listeners, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the amazing world of quantum teleportation.
Sad to see it end.
I know, me too. But hopefully we've given you a glimpse into the mind-blowing science behind it, the philosophical questions it raises, and the incredible possibilities that lie ahead.
And who knows, maybe someday we'll be discussing the realities of teleportation, not just the possibilities.
Until then, keep those minds curious, keep exploring, and thanks for joining us on the deep dive.